Hot topic today, Will. Hot topic. Hot off the press. Hit that subscribe button before we get into it. But well, we've hinted at this before. That's Will's game face. I told him before we were recording to get his game face on, and now he's just stuck looking like an absolute scrunched up butthole. But Will, what's the news of the day?
Listen, we are talking about should we or should we not extend a couple of guys, and one is I think is probably going to be an automatic, but we'll see. I might have an outlook that might blow your mind, but one should be an automatic. But
I'm not.
All right, you're already shaking your head. I'm just trying to have a conversation. No conversation
for you today.
But should we pick up the 5th-year option on Aiden Hutchinson and Jameson Williams? Table set, Steve. Where you at?
So this is coming from a report that it is likely that the Lions will exercise the 5th-year option for Jameson Williams. That's per Brad Holmes. I don't know where he did an interview at. I don't know which radio channel it was on or what podcast. I don't know if it was with Tim Twentyman or whatnot, but it's all over Twitter. I don't know who to give credit to for the interview because I'm not seeing anyone getting tagged in that, so we don't know where it's coming from. But a lot of people are saying per Brad Holmes. Jameson Williams contract extension, or I'm sorry, 5th-year extension. I'm going to get those confused. Bear with me, people. We've hinted at this before. We've talked about it. Should it happen? Should it wait? Should they extend him or should they pick up that 5th-year option? Because there is a difference. Extending him is just saying, hey, we drafted you in the first round. So what that does is it gives a team the option to pick up a 5th year for the same salary as the previous 4. An extension means we want to go above and beyond. We want to go past that 5th-year option and just shore you up for the long future. For those of you who don't understand the differences, and Aiden Hutchinson's in the same exact boat because they were in the same draft class. So we've hinted at it. Will, I kind of like the idea of just doing the 5th-year option. I think with Jameson Williams, this is the perfect opportunity for him to really show out. All right, this is it could potentially get a little messy, and it's happened before with some other players and some other teams. But I think that this is the right move to do the 5th-year option. How do you feel about it?
Well, first things first, I'll say this: Aiden Hutchinson 5th-year option done. Let's not even talk about it. Like, it's not even a thing. But when I think about him, I think about we need to extend him immediately. Like, every day that you go and you don't extend him, another one of these guys are getting an extension, and it's costing us millions of dollars. If they would have extended him before Myles Garrett got his $40 million annually, then we would have had a cheaper deal than we will moving forward now. So I think that if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm talking to Aiden, and I'm getting an extension done as soon as possible before somebody else signs a crazy deal. Now, you might be thinking, isn't Myles Garrett the best defensive end in the league? Will somebody get paid more than him? You never know. You never know. Because if you get into these receivers conversations, you would think that a lot of people are saying that Justin Jefferson is the number 1 receiver, but you got Jamar Chase out here getting, what was it, 161 or whatever, 161 million. So, yeah. So it's you never know with these guys in their negotiations or whatever. Now, do I believe that Aiden Hutchinson is a type of player that wants to win? So maybe he gives a team-friendly discount. Now, he's still going to get paid what he's due, though. So let's not, when I say team-friendly, it's going to be a few mil here, a few mil there, or a front load here and, take a concession this season or that season. But it's not going to be anything crazy. It's still going to be around that 40 million. I mean, if Myles Garrett, if you're saying that he's not as good as Myles Garrett, even though he was on pace for 20 sacks or whatever it was, 30 sacks, 45 sacks, whatever it was, then it's going to be 39 million. But if you're a believer that that young man was on the pace to do something that Myles Garrett has never done, then it starts at 41 million. I mean, that's just it, depending on where you fall. So to me, that's the first part of this. Obviously, you pick up the 5th-year option on Aiden, but you got to extend them. And I want to highlight this, Steve. All the 5th-year options are different, and it falls into, I believe, 3 different categories or 4 different categories. But whether or not you made a Pro Bowl, if you got any type of accolades, or if you haven't received anything, but you were a first-round draft pick and, you're being picked up. And then it goes down to your position, right? So J-Mos is going to be around $14 to $15 million. that it'll be for his 5th-year option. Hutch's will be, I think, looks like around 22 million if I'm looking at this right.
That's a crazy amount of money.
So anyway, around $20 million. So when you're thinking about that, man, these 5th-year options get a little bit more serious. But when I think about J-Mo, he's the only score a touchdown right now receiver that we have on our roster. Whether he's going 99 yards or he's going 5 yards, he can score from anywhere on the field. I think that makes it a no-brainer for the 5th-year option. So I guess we can start there. Is it a no-brainer for the 5th-year option for you? I know he's been in some trouble, suspensions, knucklehead stuff. He was pumping on somebody when he scored his last touchdown, I believe. Grab him. So where you at with it?
I like the option idea for J-Mo. I just look at him, and you're right. Listen, when he gets the ball, it's stand up, hold the seat, look closely, gasp, hold your breath, and see what's about to happen. But he does have some off the field stuff. He has not played a full season yet, and it's not the first year when his rookie season was due to injury. Coming out of Alabama, tore his ACL in the national championship game, so we knew he was going to be on the shelf. When he came in, that was like the excitement, like a little jolt that we needed. 2023, the gambling thing, missed some games, only played 12 games that season. This year, he had those, like Viagra pills or something he was taking. He was taking those wiener pills or something. I don't know what he was on, but got a suspension for that too. So he didn't play a full season. Listen, I think this is Brad Holmes pretty much just going to say, hey, man, you want to get a big boy contract with us or with someone else? I mean, someone else will probably give him the money because another team will take the risk. I don't want to get into that, but I think this is Brad Holmes saying, hey, come into 2025, play a whole season, just stay out of the tabloids, stay out of the media, just show up and play football, and you'll probably end up getting a contract one way or another. I think it's a safe route. I think it's a safe bet for the team. I think it's a good pickup for J-Mo. I mean, he's getting a raise, $14 million, bro. That's damn near $1 million a game. So that's a raise for him as well. So I like that option for Jameson Williams. Hutch, man, I don't know. When I saw what Myles Garrett got, like I know I want to extend him, so let's not, try to pretend we're going to put words in Steve's mouth. But when I saw that contract that Myles got, I said, man, he's going to be in that neighborhood. Now, same boat as Micah Parsons. Do you want to get that Aiden Hutchinson deal done before Micah Parsons gets his? Like, what if Micah's $44 million? Like, where do you rank him in Hutch? Like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people who do a lot of money, and we've got a guy that's one of the best in the NFL at the same position at rushing the passer. And I don't know. I want to get him paid. I think he'll get a longer contract, and that might help. I think Myles Garrett was like 4 years. I could see Hutch probably getting at least a 6-year deal because of how young he is. How much is going to be guaranteed? Is it going to be front loaded, back loaded? I think he's going to kind of, he being Brad Holmes, play with the numbers. Do I front load this thing? Do I offset it from how much I'm paying Jared Goff per year to where maybe I'm only paying them top dollars 1 year out of these contracts? There's a lot of different things to look into, but you got to get Hutch extended. He's got to be a Lion for life first and foremost. So that's where I stand.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to actually go to it next. Shame on you. Unbelievable.
Well, it might read you like a book. I know you like the back of my hand. I knew what this conversation was going to be before I even hit this record button today.
Yeah. So our Micah Parsons, man, that's exactly where I was, man. Micah Parsons, and he said that he wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL. Period. That's what he believes that he's due. So if
that's true, it's like what? Like 48 million? Because what's the numbers on Jamar Chase's off the top of your head? Do you remember? Do you know?
I can't remember, but I know it's absolutely bananas.
There, yeah. It's close to 50, I think.
Yeah, so if he signs before Hutch signs, what are we doing?
We got a problem.
What are we doing? So I think that you need to sign Hutch immediately and get it out of the way. That way we're not losing more money. And you can get into the conversation of front loading and back loading. You backload this thing and then the salary cap is going to go up, blah, 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 blah. I get it. Why even deal with all of that? Get him signed as soon as you can. Now, focusing back on J-Mo, here's where I think things can get a little bit sticky and this conversation can go left and people can get a little bit upset with me, but I'm here for it. J-Mo's an asset. He is probably biggest playmaker on our team as it stands right now. The guy can hit a home run at any moment. But there's the off the field stuff that concerns me a little bit. And Brad and Dan talked about culture, right? Our culture and what we are, what we represent, how we get down. There's some things that he does that pull against the culture. Is it the hugest deal in the world? I don't think so. But they said there's only a certain amount of players that you can have that challenge the culture that you have, right? And when you don't need to worry about it because the culture is set, but you have these guys that you got to kind of pull back into the culture. When I look at this draft and we talk about guys like Golden or Isaiah Bond, the Texas receivers, there's other speedy receivers in this draft. If you get, I think it was Isaiah Bond I drafted in a 3rd round or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm Brad, that's the reason why I go get a guy like that. Not because I don't want to keep J-Mo on this team. I think you keep him honest. And it's a reminder that there's other guys out there. And I haven't took the opportunity to dig into who Golden or Bond are as people, as players. What are they about? Are they clean cut? Are they, typically out of trouble, no issues? I haven't dug into that. But living in a world where maybe they are, okay, is that a better fit to bring one of those guys in who are just going to be like a Amon-Ra St. Brown or a Khalif Raymond, a guy that's going to pin their ears back, work hard, kind of, stay out of trouble, no mischief? Would it make sense to get that guy who's still fast and still can do some things into this? I think if you get the 5th year option, you get him for a reasonable price. If you don't pick up the 5th year option and then you try to negotiate, let him play the 4th year and negotiate an extension, you're going to pay more than that $14-15 million for that 5th year and then moving forward. So that I don't think that that's the idea either. But if it's me, I pick up the 5th year option, but I get one of these speedy receivers in this draft and see what they can develop into and see if it makes more sense, right? So to me, we're going into a prove it year for J-Mo. Either way that it goes, even if we don't get anybody. I've said it many, many times, and people don't like to hear it from me, but the best receivers out there having a phenomenal game touch the ball about 10 times a game, like if they're lucky. 10 receptions, and there's a lot of football plays that go on. Right? So if I subtract their 10 plays, can I find a way to be successful plugging somebody else in there to make those 10 plays? And now instead, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs has to make that play. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown has to make that play. Maybe Sam Laporta's got to do a little bit more. I mean, we have playmakers. So I want J-Mo on this team. But for those reasons, I would be looking in this draft to try to get a speedster, somebody that can stretch the field, because they're all over the field. You got other guys. You got Xavier Worthies and Tyreek Hills. You know what I mean? There's other guys in this league, Steve, that can stretch the field. Jamar Chase, we were just talking about. So he's not the only playmaker on earth. Show that you can be a professional, which we're pulling for you at Detroit Den 313. But show it in this 4th year. Play every football game. Keep your nose out of trouble, and earn that big contract. Steve, are you with me, or are you feeling different?
I'm with you. Trivia time, Will.
Yeah, what's up?
What is Jameson Williams' career high in catches? Do you happen to have an idea?
I have no idea. I just know he's got that barely 1,000 yards, and he's the lowest reception guy to get 1,000 yards last season.
Because he's a big play. He's a big play guy. But the answer is 6, and he got that against Minnesota at the end of the season last year. So you're thinking 6 catches. He probably had over 150 yards. No, 34. So he's kind of he is the big play guy. So he's not a guy you're gonna not like a Amon-Ra St. Brown where he can put up 12, 14 catches, get open, pick up first downs. I'm all for this 5th year option, but there is another aspect to 5th year options that I think we have to have a conversation about. And that's, let's say 2025 plays out, Jameson Williams plays all 17 games, doesn't have any black marks off the field, clean cut all season, has another really good year, over 1,000 yards, maybe 7 to 10 touchdowns. I don't know. It's not about stats, but what if he goes into that next season with that 5th year? Do you think that there's a chance he would sit out? because a lot of people do that. A lot of players do that when they want that for sure thing. Like, hey, I just came off a big year. I proved to you guys I kept my nose clean. I played all 17 games. I stayed healthy. I was productive. I want a big contract before I go into 2025. I think the receiver position is most likely to do this, where they sit out and they want that contract of the future of knowing that I'm not just on a 1-year deal. So do you think that that's something that Brad Holmes should take into effect too when we're talking about guys in this draft, like a Isaiah Bond, a Kyle Williams, or any other rookie you want to talk about? Do you think that that's something that could come into effect?
No, because everything that the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes has shown is that they sign their guys. So I think if he takes care of business, does what he's supposed to do, they'll either say, hey, man, listen, we're going to work out a contract. So a contract will get worked out so they won't have to worry about it. Or they'll look him straight in the eyeballs and say, hey, listen, this is probably your last year with the Detroit Lions. So it would behoove you to get on the field and not do a holdout that's going to ultimately damage your ability to go out and get another contract. Because if you hold out for one team, who's to say that you won't do it for the next team if things aren't the way that you want it to be? So I think Brad is stubborn enough to stick to his guns and not be strong-armed by a player. But at the same time, we're the type of organization that just does the right thing. So either way that it goes, I'm not saying that the right thing will be, even if he has a great season, maybe we do draft Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond is going nuts, and maybe he's okay with losing that asset in Jameson Williams. Maybe that's what it is. I think there would be a sit down and a conversation that says just that. And when other teams are calling around asking about him, or why aren't you resigning him, or what's going on, that'll be the information that could be potentially put out there. I don't think that him and his agent would want that either. So it's not something that I would worry about. And honestly, having this conversation and saying all of this stuff, what do I really want to happen? I want him to stay out of trouble, play absolutely out of his mind, and get a contract extension. And then we have him as a playmaker on this team for the foreseeable future, man, with guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and, Sam Laporta and the young offensive core group. But, that's up to him and that's up to Brad. So is that an issue that you foresee coming down the line?
I don't want to cross that bridge till I get there. But while you were talking, I was just thinking, I know someone's going to leave it in the comments. And this is another year past that franchise tag. I'll just say the term because it is an option, after the extension. We're not going to go. I don't want to go down that road, Will, unless you want to. But this is like 2 or 3 seasons down the road from, getting into that franchise tag category. But we're aware of how that works. What do I want to happen is I want this offense to be as deadly as possible for as long as possible. And I think when you want it to be deadly, you have to have playmakers. I think there's only 2 people who, when they touch the football, you hold your breath, like you said. I think you forgot about Jahmyr Gibbs, but I'll let it slide. William, I know you're not like a huge Jahmyr Gibbs fan, and you're looking into trading him this offseason and trying to move up within the draft to get rid of Jahmyr Gibbs. No?
Something wrong with you. I said receiver when I said what I said.
But this is an offensive NFL. You got to have offensive weapons. Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo, maybe we add an Isaiah Bond. We'd have 3 really nice pieces with a possession receiver like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, if we're paying Hutchinson and we're paying J-Mo $20 to $40 million, each, somewhere in that range, there's only so much money to be had. So we're going to have hope that this salary cap goes up another $25 million next year, because we're going to be in the same boat with Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Sam Laporta. The list goes on. We got a lot of guys that are coming up, and this is, we're not trying to get into like the 2029 season or anything, but there's only so much money to be had. So if you sign Jameson Williams to a $20 to $25 million contract and you're giving Hutchinson, I'll call it 40, that's $60 million in your cap that you're tied up. Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, St. Brown's being paid. You're going to have to pay Jahmyr Gibbs, who I just mentioned. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Brad does this the next 2 or 3 seasons, because there's only so much money you can pay. Unfortunately, we're not like baseball, and we do have a salary cap in the NFL, and it kind of sucks, but it's a good thing to keep the teams competitive. So I don't know. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out the next 2-3 seasons.
It will be interesting to see, man, but we're going to get some answers pretty doggone soon, because this 5th-year option decision's got to be made by May 1st, right? May 1st, that decision has to be on the table, whether or not you're picking up those 5th-year options. So like we said at the beginning of this thing, the decision is pretty much already made for Hutch, but will they be picking up the 5th-year option for Jameson Williams sounds like that Brad has said. I'm assuming that that's at the coaches conference or whatever that they're all down there at right now. But
Yeah.
somebody probably interviewed him, but I haven't seen that interview yet either. But I'm assuming if he said that's what's most likely going to happen, that's what's going to happen. And those two guys will be under contract for a fair, reasonable price for a few more seasons. But man, that Aiden Hutchinson contract is going to be crazy, man. Like, if
what do you want to happen with Hutch? What do you want? Like, if you could pick the numbers realistically, what would they be?
Honestly, if I could talk Hutch into something, I would say 35 million
a year.
I mean, yeah, 35 million. If I'm getting him to sign, it would be 6 years. I like 6. If I'm him, I'm signing for 4. Because I want to get locked in for that 4 and then be able to renegotiate in 4 years when I'm still pretty young and I can get a crazy bag. And when you lock in with a team, and I know he's a Michigan guy, man, so I haven't heard him say that he wants to be a Detroit Lion for life though, but the assumptions that he maybe wants to stay in Michigan forever could be easily assumed. But I would want the option in 4 years to, hey, if we're not taking care of business and something happened, to be able to go to a different team and chase the Super Bowl, or just be able to negotiate more money, because who knows what's happening? Who knows what the contracts are in 4 years? Who knows how much the salary cap goes up? So in 4 years, I want to reevaluate. You get a couple seasons with 20 sacks under your belt or something, that price goes up, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could. But if I'm the Detroit Lions, I'd be trying to lock him down, man, as long as I could. I'd be trying, if I could, I'd be going Patrick Mahomes. Let me sign you for 10 seasons, and what are we talking about, man?
I don't know if I'm giving a defensive end 10 years, but I like 6. I like 6. If we could average that out to like 35, 37, guaranteed money, big signing bonus, something like that. I know he likes having his family at the games and they got their suite, but if another team's paid you $40 million, you could probably afford a couple bucks to fly the family down to wherever you're playing at. So I haven't heard him say I want to be a Lion for life, but I just assume, Michigan kid, Michigan Wolverine, Detroit Lion, like, family gets to watch every single home game. Like, I think that's something to take into effect. So hopefully my 35 to 37, maybe it's like 33 to 34. We get that little bit of a hometown discount, and he looks at it and says, hey, if you guys are, keep doing what you're doing and we're hitting on the draft and spending in free agency and we're competitive, I'd rather take that instead of going to play for the Tennessee Titans for $40 million. It's just an absolute dumpster fire. So I don't know. We'll have to see. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. I'm kind of nervous, if I'm being honest, Will, about the next 2 to 3 seasons, because I personally think we're losing someone. It's just a matter of who. Is it going to be Kirby? Is it going to be Brian Branch? Is it going to be Sam Laporta? I don't think it'll be Jahmyr Gibbs, but I don't want it to be Brian Branch. So I think the two on the table are Sam Laporta and probably Kirby Joseph. But, we could have that conversation later.
The draft is going to tell you, though, because if we draft Starks, you pretty much know what it is. You know what I mean? If in next year's draft, if we draft a tight end, a premier tight end, then you pretty much know what it is. So I think the breadcrumbs are going to get left there, because we're not going to allow those positions to just, go to another team without having an answer. Even if I look at somebody in there, and obviously this guy is not on the same level of the guys we're talking about, but when I look at somebody like Ife Melifonwu, we let Ife leave, but we are not hurting at the safety position. So it's easier to let somebody like that walk. Sam Laporta walks out the door and you don't have a replacement for him. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Same thing with Kirby Joseph, even though, as Amon-Ra said, and we always say it, it's the easiest position to play in the league. You got one of the best ones at it. So if not the best one. So I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I can't wait. We're getting to the point to where things are happening. They're going to be bang, 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 bang. 5-year options, the draft, like training camp, preseason. Like we're all getting to the point to where these things are going to be right on the table for us to watch unfold right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, hopefully we're doing shows like this once a year, because that's just a product of Brad Holmes doing well in the draft. Like, this is what you have to do. You draft well. 3-4 years down the road after a good draft, those guys are wanting to get paid. So we're going to be in this boat quite often, I hope. So we'll have another discussion about whoever we draft here in a few weeks. We'll be talking about them 3 or 4 years from now when we draft Tyleik Williams and JTT out of Ohio State. William, I know you hate that, but they're probably $40 million guys of the future too. So stick around, hit that like button. First dominoes are falling in place, guys. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.